Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. Greetings and welcome back to Into the Nexus. I'm Garrett, here as always, with Kyle Fergusson. How you doing this week, dude?
I'm doing good, man.
You're moving a little faster? You feeling a little more pep in your step?
Speeding along through the week.
Yeah, smacking your horse a little harder? That sounds dirty. Spurring your horse along at a quicker pace?
Yeah.
You sprinting to the core?
Yes.
I would say I'm feeling about 10% better.
All right. That's a good percent.
Happy Thursday, dude. We're coming at you a little earlier than usual, folks. We're pretty sure this is going to be our new day and time, with the exception of next week, because I am leaving for my summer vacation next week. So we're going to be recording very early. Expect to see a show go up Wednesday morning next week. And but once I'm back and we're back to the normal kind of swing of things, we're going to be moving the show 2 hours earlier, doing it at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time, every Thursday, coming at you into the Nexus, continuing forward, just, 10% faster.
Yeah, exactly. You'll still have it that Friday morning. It's still the same show. It's just a little quicker for some reason.
Yeah, man. Yeah. On mount and off.
We're beating around the bush too much. There are bushes you now speed through, but let's stop beating the bush.
Yeah, the Hakas, man, they're just, out that bush. Out it. There's a lot to cover this week, so let's just rip this Band-Aid off.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Stay a while and listen.
So we got a balance update this week that kind of dropped I don't know about you, dude. I was very surprised. I was playing, and suddenly it's like the game's yelling at me to relaunch the game, and I'm like, okay. And then I go to the launcher and I click on the patch link, but it's sending me to the old patch, and I didn't see anything on the Reddit, and I didn't see anything on the official site. And then I couldn't get back into the game, and I thought I had a nail in my tire, so I went and took care of that. I came back an hour later, suddenly here's patch notes, and I can finally see what's going on. And we've gotten a baseline movement speed increase to every hero, every mount, doesn't matter, across the board. Everyone's moving 10% faster off mount, and everyone's moving 8.74% with other decibels. That's rounding, rounding a bit. They're moving essentially 3/4% faster on mounts than we used to, but not than we used to a long time ago.
Right. Well, the math I've seen is it might actually be faster than the previous HGC update of the past. But what's basically happened, everyone's moving 10% faster. We went from 4.4 to 4.8. Mounts are a percent increase, so mounts are now faster too. And the developer comment on this overall sweeping change was rather light.
It was. It really gave us no information at all. They just said we were evaluating this change last year for the gameplay update, but wanted some more time to soak it. That's it. I mean, they did say they're going to monitor it and make changes as needed. But you can't. What? No. Just last week, Kyle. Just let somebody pull it. Someone pulled my clip of me going, I love that they respect us enough to be honest and tell us what they're thinking. And suddenly I'm just sitting here, Heroes of the Storm is my significant other, sitting on the edge of the bed, clamming up, and I'm just going, but what's wrong? What'd I do? Why won't you just tell me? Just tell me what's going on. Tell me tell me why. Why? Explain to me.
We're about to go really deep into this. It is a huge overarching change to the game. You can feel 10% because of these other modifiers that happen in the game, like the mount we just talked about. This is not as big of a change as, for instance, the experience change or the ammo change that happens in our big year update. This is a minor gameplay adjustment, but it does change everything.
It's a major gameplay adjustment. It's a minor tweak in the numbers sense of things, but it feels so different to me.
It's on the basic level. It feels like you were playing chess with your friends, and now someone added one of those speed chess clocks, and like, just go for it. And your first couple of games feel really hectic. You do adjust. Your brain is capable of these things. If you ever said anywhere on the internet, and I'm looking at individuals, that I would like this game to have a higher skill ceiling and allow for more individual play, well, guess darn what? By moving faster, your reaction times are more important, and you have the ability to counterplay more abilities. Therefore, you got your wish.
It's a double-edged sword, because there are abilities now that have less counterplay than they did before.
Interesting.
Garrosh, Kyle. Garrosh. Whereas before, you had more time to deal with the Garrosh walking up to you.
Oh, no.
Gee.
Okay.
My gut reaction, by the way, dude, is I hate this change.
Okay, cool.
Like,
that's
that's
great. That's important.
Yeah, I get that it's we are all affected equally by it. But my instant my 2-day impression is that I am really bad at this game now as a result of this change. I am old and my reflexes are not what they once were. And they weren't that great to begin with.
I really do respect that opinion. And
yeah, it was. I don't know. I just want you to know that listeners at home, so that maybe my comments this episode make more sense to you. But something like so to me, I don't think it's as cut and dry as you can now counter more abilities than you could before, because I believe you can also now not counter almost an equal amount of abilities as you did before. You now have less time to react to certain things, while also at the same time having more time to react to other things. And it's just completely shifted the paradigm of our understandings of this game, of essentially every hero matchup in the game. If you've been playing this game for a while, you now have to completely relearn your matchups and what you're looking out for and where you are prioritizing your movements to try and stay alive.
Yes, it is completely fair to say that in our games last night, you and I played together, I was total butts. I sucked.
Well, it was butts too, dude. It was midnight. I was tired.
Oh, yeah, when I got ganked nonstop because mercenary camps, lanes I thought I could clear, forts I thought I could get, weren't available anymore because what I perceived as an entire team in the bottom lane could reach the top to defend against me by the time I wasn't done yet. And that perspective throw and that Garrosh thing too. I mean, that's a really simple thing to say. Everyone has the same movement speed. Why are you falling to this? Well, you're just bad. No, I mean, your reactions have changed. And if you are a standstill hero, let's take, Raynor, for instance, you're used to getting a set amount of time. Last night, I did a Mephisto game versus a Butcher. Well, guess what I can do as Mephisto? I can teleport away when he charges me. But there is a slight moment where Mephisto is casting said spell and can be interrupted before he actually makes the teleport. Butcher moved faster during his movement speed increased charge than I was used to, and I failed to land the window of time I needed to get out of there. And those sort of simple things are all going to add together to be a frustrating experience if you are frustrated by it. If you take yourself into ranked right now, you're insane. I don't know how you get to in general, missing patch notes is crazy to me. Your game sits there, it loads up, there's a splash screen, there's information telling you things, and you just ignore it completely and dive right in. Maybe you've just been accustomed to it by the 2017 early year just tidal wave of updates that were happening nonstop. And you said, those aren't for me, those are for HGC. My perspective is twisted by my own sense of practice and that my friends love this update. Oh my God. All my friends think this is amazing. They were HGC haters. Let me tell you, They were not pleased when HGC took away their mount speed, ruined some of their abilities. And now that they actually get to, perhaps wrongly in a previous meta, make that defense in the top, they're now happier. Spider Queen, they're taking our top fort. The correct decision in, standard play as we knew it was you would push the bottom lane and go equal. And that took an educated choice. And, they're going to get ours. We'll never get there in time. Let's take the bottom instead. But now they can actually make it to the top with a minor movement speed increase. That defense is now capable. That Cursed Hollow boss, that Sky Temple boss is now defensible. And they love it because it's the natural reaction they're having anyway in their heads. And to do a tactical choice otherwise felt bad, even if you broke even.
That's good for them. I mean, this is all opinion based, and like I am willing to admit that I'm probably being a curmudgeon here that doesn't like change, and but I do in Heroes of the Storm. I just wasn't expecting this. Like this was nowhere on my radar. And I do kind of like the mount speed change. I'm really mostly, my gut reaction is that I do not care for the unmounted move speed change.
That's fair.
If you want to change up the speed at which of the speed of rotations, and change how you can report and how quickly you can report in this game, that's cool. And there's a nice, easy division of numbers you can tweak to affect that, but not affect team fights once you are there. And that's mounted versus unmounted. But instead, they have chosen to change both to increase the speed of both. And it has just made it a little quick for me. And I don't. I'm old, and if I wanted this, I would go play League of Legends.
I think you're absolutely 100% wrong there.
Okay.
I think that Heroes of the Storm is, as they put it here, they wanted to make the game snappier. Now, that's devs saying, we think this would be fun and we're going to do this update whether you like it or not. We did not roll a PTR for this, and here's what we think is right for the game. If you are a video game developer, and you say, we're going to do something because we think it's fun, I'm 100% for it because we're all here to have fun, right? So let's just pass on that note there. You're all crazy if you think having fun is a wrong reason for a video game developer to do anything. But League of Legends and Dota are slow. They are molasses, and you have to walk and shop and all these things. And lots of people, including those friends I'm talking about, have been playing auto chess, have been playing Teamfight Tactics, and then said, who are these characters? What game do they come from? I'm going to try League of Legends or Dota. Oh my God, this is so slow. I don't have the 45 minutes to an hour and a half to spend on this, and come back to Heroes and go, oh, this is primo good times. This is fast-paced. We are the fast-paced, snappy MOBA, and we just got even more so. And I think in a Super Smash Bros. Kind of style, we are now more exciting, more fun, and have a better place in the market.
Okay. I think they should have adjusted all skill shots as well.
Okay.
If they were going to be this heavy-handed,
yes,
don't baby step it. This is a heavy-handed baby step, which is a phrase I've never said in my life.
It's true, though. When we had an armor update, we went through and updated all armor values. Armor no longer stacks. Okay, well, let's make sure we buff everything in there. And that's what makes this feel unthought through. There are oversights in the game that are very real. Now, some of these I think are great, like Asmodan. He's been trouble. The warning to get out of an Asmodan circle as Raynor is not long enough. As Vala, yeah, maybe you vault, but that was a high value vault. Now you might get ganked. Now you missed your DPS increase, your extra hungering arrow, but you dodged the shot. Grats to you. Raynor couldn't do it. If you were an unskilled Diablo, not doing the combo to guarantee that one person in your Apocalypse, everyone just runs out of Apocalypse now. There is now counterplay, and that's a pretty cool, maybe thing. What they should have done, though, is said 10% movement increase, these abilities are now 10% wider. That math isn't perfect. Whatever, how big ever you have to make Blizzard to match a new person staying in it, as long as they did.
I see. I wouldn't go wide because body blocking still exists, and that would be hell. I would go speed at which the blizzard lands, speed at which the apocalypse pops, speed at which Hungering Arrow travels. Okay,
so you don't really have a problem with the actual length of your Hungering Arrow. It is the speed. Okay.
Yes. Because, well, I mean, you could mess with that. Hungering Arrow is... A skill shot like that is different than a area effect like a blizzard or an apocalypse that happens on a delay, is what I'm saying. Hungering Arrow, I think there's an argument for playing with either, although I don't know how helpful additional length really becomes in a world with faster movement. It certainly would help. It wouldn't hurt, but I don't know. My brain goes first to let's make that projectile move 10% faster, not adjust the length of which it happens, because you still would get the snappiness. So I don't know. It's just strange. I will tell you what I love, absolutely love. Do you want to know what feels so amazing with this new move speed that it kind of brings a tear to my eye because it just feels so good? It has that Smash Brothers snappiness that you talked about.
Yeah, what is it?
Stutter stepping. Stutter stepping with this new move speed is freaking incredible. I have never felt anything that felt this satisfying in a MOBA, like in terms of like normal gameplay, like stuff you're doing all the time that's not based around an ability that's on a cooldown. Like nailing my stutter steps on like a full auto attack build Vala, so I've got the increased attack speed, and I'm also increasing my movement speed on top of this baseline movement speed increase. You feel like a god. But the second my Q, the second my Hungering Arrow is off of cooldown, I just start sweating because I know I'm going to miss.
We could do both, honestly, with your Hungering Arrow. If we increase the length and keep the duration to the endpoint the same, your speed would be increased as well.
Yeah, right. But you're essentially doing both, which might be a bridge too far, because I think you do want people to be able to move back. You want to be able to dodge a Hungering Arrow or whatever skill shot. We're just using Hungering Arrow as the example, right? You want to be able to reward players for their knowledge of that skill shot. If people have played the game enough or played the hero they're now facing enough to know how wide the skill shot is and how long the skill shot can travel, you want to reward them for that knowledge so that they know if it is better to sidestep or to move out of range. So I think possibly doing both would probably be too much.
That's fair. I think we wouldn't be as strong. We wouldn't be having this argument as a community if we didn't recently have and recent is generous, but the radius update for a lot of heroes, because now it feels like we're really laying into all skill shot heroes as a development team, as Blizzard is right now. They hate us for some reason. The Kel'Thuzad's out there, they hate you. They don't want you to play this game anymore. And they would rather you were Cassia, for instance, who might be able to lock on with Offend and a right click of Uther, Diablo, and all these sort of spells. If you're a Li Ming main, you might feel like they're after you. And that actually goes a step further, because all teleports have been affected. Now, if you are a anti-movement creep kind of person, the fact that Genji goes a set distance and his set distance was not increased means that you can keep up with him. And in fact, I've got two great compliments for this update. Mounts look better, for one. It was always frustrating to ride a pony that was barely getting above, European show speed.
Dude, I'm with you. I already said it. I'm totally on board for the mount movement speed increase.
And tanking is more fun. As a tank, as Johanna, I have been doing a lot of Falling Sword. In fact, this week I even tilted Jayhow in my game we played together because I took Falling Sword. But it was a fabulous pick, and I stand by it, and we won because of it. I stand by that. But if Diablo is wailing on me in melee range, he's not moving faster anyway. Genji, who dives my backline, I need to address him. And he's now, for the most part, standing still, shurikening and auto-attacking my DPS. I can now reposition back to him faster. I can make body blocks faster. And in general, Johanna just feels more snappy. This is ignoring the fact that I don't feel 20% slows. I was always down on 20% slows. A 20% slow right now is not helping nobody frame up anything.
Yeah, you need a root.
And stuns and all that sort of thing. And if we go that way, do slows even really matter anymore? Can they put slows on more abilities? It helps everyone catch up. So it's a pursuit or an escape ability rather than a team fight ability, perhaps. All these things are going to twist around a little bit. Is it a nerf to globals? Do all global heroes now have less power because they can be rotated upon faster?
Yep. I mean, in a nutshell, yes. Like, if we're talking in a vacuum, like global ability is now worth less than it was before as a result of this change. Not even just the gank ability. Just like if there was value in traversing the map immediately on a long cooldown, let's say once every 2 minutes, that value has been somewhat diminished because now everyone in the game can traverse the map 10% faster than they could before. Well, 8.74 if we're talking mount speed, which you should be because it's still faster than walking.
Right. Now, things like Malthiel's Pale Horse that takes you to 150% movement speed. Rhaegar. Dahaka, a global hero, but stepping in a bush gives you percent base movement speed. They are all looking pretty good right now. And in fact, Lost Vikings, his win rate went up, or their win rate went up 15%. Just, it's bad data right now. It's a minuscule amount of games. We'll talk about it next week for sure. But Lost Vikings is not suffering because all the Vikings are reacting faster to the ganks that are becoming their way and making their escapes. So things that you might obviously think are issues are not. Junkrat, he's down 11% because Junkrat has one escape and walking out has never been his forte. He's dead in this current new speedy meta.
Also, you have so much more ability to get the hell out of the way of his grenades.
That is true. Yeah, they didn't increase that projectile speed.
No, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, so my other, like, this is kind of like my last major concern is that, yeah, maybe you have heightened the skill floor in a certain way because of Twitch movements being good, being worth more. Your ability to react is now more important than ever. But they're also now, like, why should I play a character with a skill shot when I can just go Uther and just press E and I know it's going to happen? Like, why now? I'm worried that they're rewarding low skill heroes more
in lower leagues of play,
in any league,
because your Genji now has more opportunity to stutter step and move with increased movement. So, what about, like, what's going to happen to the reign of Kael'thas in Bronze and Silver? If you can move away from spreading living bombs, does his reign of terror finally end? There are some positives here in terms of balance, but
yeah. I'm sitting here going, I like Kael'thas, I like Raynor, two very different heroes, but two damage dealing heroes. I don't see a lot of argument for wanting to pick Kael'thas right now. Why sign myself up for that when I can just stutter step like a god on Raynor, and as long as my right clicks go into the right place, damage is being dealt.
And right now, Kael'thas is not bringing home the bacon anyway, due to the front lines we're running at the moment.
Yeah, I'm less interested in talking about the meta right now, but more talking about like the future and just like the desire to want to pick different heroes for certain situations.
Sure, it is a huge hit to every mage in the game, and they were already having trouble because closing the distance to cast your spells was dangerous, because we were rather explosive with these heavy dealing damage front lines. You know, running a Diablo and a Thrall instead of a Johanna and Yrel kind of situation. There's some chance to explode in that situation there. I do have some just egregious oversights here that need to be addressed. And this is where I will agree with anyone who wants to, get a little uppity about this being underthought. Summons were not increased in their movement speed at all. And in particular, Abathur's monstrosity is still moving at old hero speed. That's not going to get a lot done. If it can be rotated on, if it can now be hunted down, granted, it does have dig, I think, passively now in the last update, but still, that's not great. Artanis, Space Laser, is moving at the same speed. Whoops. That's not going to do anything.
Yeah, and without a more detailed kind of peek behind the curtain, without a dev comment that it kind of goes into their thinking here, it's hard not to look at changes like that and think, oh, well, they just didn't think about it. This is just an oversight. This is clearly unintentional, because it feels unintentional. Like, why would you go Purifier Beam now? Which, by the way, I haven't seen it since this patch. I've seen a lot of Artanises and not a single Purifier Beam.
Yeah, I've been off Artanis for a while now myself. Nazebo, Ravenous Spirit. But are these abilities powerful in their own right? We're just misusing them due to our previous information. There are situations like Ana is doing her aim down sight. She's moving slow. Purifier Beam's amazing. She has trouble healing herself. You just go, Ana, get out of here. Run around in circles for me for a while. Or just mess up and never deactivate the mode you stand in, and you're dead. Ravenous Spirit destroying a whole team. Is that happening in Bronze and Silver? Is this something that we should be mixing a mosh pit with? Or is there something we should be doing more team-oriented, as the game intended, to allow a heroic of this executable nature to succeed? And do we need to combine Earthquake and Ravenous Spirit? And Nazebo, as a player, should have never in the first place, in the dev's opinion, been able to hunt down a running away Kael'thas by itself.
Right. That's my curmudgeon gut check, because I'm sitting here going, all these things seem weird. They seem too different. But if their goal is to, like, with a couple number adjustments, drastically change the landscape of this game, then they've succeeded. Like, they have achieved their goal. Although it sure seems like some of these things are an oversight. But like, that aside, like, overall, like, my comments, my reaction to this being less than positive may not matter, because this may be their goal, and that may be chalked up to a success in that regards. But I don't know. I just don't want a point and click meta.
Sure. And your mind will adjust, and you will continue to play the game, and it will be like it never happened before at some point. But that doesn't change the fact that Lucio might be everywhere. Garrosh's might be more powerful. Murky is all up in your business, whether you want him to be or not. All melee, who have perhaps in a sort of World of Warcraft sort of style, better DPS than their range counterparts, are connecting more often and are really, really dangerous at the moment. And that could just swing. All those insta-lock Kael'thas's and Jaina's suddenly become Malthiels, because that's how you carry now. Well, can we enhance damage? Can we move damage around? And those are all the instances where we say this feels underthought. Why wasn't there some sort of sweeping something in the numbers that went with this change? And I think, honestly, they just cranked it up in the office and said, oh, that's fun. Did you have more fun? I had more fun. Cool, let's do it. We were planning to do it with the XP update anyway. Kind of makes sense when you think about rotating on buildings and defenses and all that. The gameplay of saying you get top, I'll get bottom is bogus when we work in catapults and passive XP. You're both Nazebos farming on each other's lanes again. This is getting stupid. And now with a defensible rotation being capable, with double soaking being viable again, there are more strategies available.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. It's interesting for sure. I just, if nothing else, my main kind of criticism is I really would have liked to have seen a lot more things addressed in regards to their speed. Because if they want things to feel snappy, well, right now it's really only the movement and garage. Like flame strikes, blizzards, chromies, gleamings, they feel sluggish and clumsy.
That's fair. And we also heard they wanted to update the solo lane, and this update is not healthy for that solo lane right now. You will be Blaze, you will be Yrel, you will be more tanky because the chance of being rotated on is higher. And yes, there's more counterplay like movement options, but the orb still takes as long to transfer over. And knocking someone backwards with Yrel, I had this problem yesterday. It was a Garrosh versus Yrel lane, so it was silly, but I'd jump him, he'd throw me, I'd jump him, and the orbs weren't transferring fast enough for either of us to actually zone out the other, and we just run back in and grab said orb. We'll learn it in time, surely, but the solo lane is now perhaps worse than it was.
I was definitely sweating. Again, it's new, so maybe over time it will just be. But yeah, my God, my experiences in the solo lane since this patch went live is just constantly out of breath.
But if now, to devil's advocate again, and one I believe in because I love doing rotating Tychus. It's a blast. Oh, Tychus run and gun is so fast. It's amazing. You rotate around, and now there is no solo lane like we knew it in League of Legends or Dota, where you go, bye, 15 minutes, see ya, I'll be in the jungle, like I'll never visit. Now there is a visiting, and solo laning is not solo anymore. If you put a Vala in solo lane, she's going to get an Uther visit every 30 seconds. Did we just change that meta? Did they fix it? And we're still playing wrong.
Is it my job as a support now to rotate like a ganking assassin just to keep everyone topped off because I can move faster now? Is that a thing? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe the answer is yes. But will the player base rise to the occasion, I guess? And if like any of these new crazy meta breaking or meta shifting changes come to pass and are the correct thing, are we all going to actually take the time to learn it and execute upon it?
If it's fun, I think it'll happen naturally. And that's where I like this update. I think it is more fun. I think there is more opportunity for wrong decisions to be right, which is fine because they felt fun and better in the first place. And our tactical sweet game knowledge won more games, but it was kind of dumb to ask everybody to do the opposite of the fun thing. Defending a castle's fun.
Totally was. And this can be... I might come next week. I may be totally down with this if changes come. But so what's going to bum me out is if next week or however long enough time is going to take to see shifts, although we are already seeing them. Let's say next week we take a look at the stats and it's just wildly changed. And up at the top is everybody who just has a point and click ability, no skill involved. Everyone else has fallen off and there's no reason to pick a mage, which I kind of think there isn't a reason to pick a mage except maybe Jaina. Because Cone of Cold is now a little more reliable to land. It's going to slow them, and you're going to still be able to land your abilities. But I don't want to take Kael'thas right now. I think you're insane if you're taking Chromie. But if that comes to pass, and there's no changes, there's no adjustments, then I'm going to be grumpy.
Right.
If next week we get a patch with some adjustments, I might still be like, oh, see, you should have made this change, but whatever. As long as they're going to adjust at a relatively quick pace, I'm totally down with this. Cool. Get nuts. Just stay nuts if you're gonna do this. But my concern is we've been going about 3 weeks between patches.
I think there's enough holes here that they will hit swiftly with something next week. I was on the PTR, so I'm going to go ahead and toot my own horn. Y'all should have been playing the PTR. This would have come out on PTR.
Oh, anybody
just played it.
But dude, like this whole conversation we just had, like this is not me going like this is the worst thing ever. This is just I'm two friends having an honest conversation about how they feel about this change. I have seen so much, I think, like short-sighted criticism of this patch change that has really grinded my gears. But I wasn't going to go on the show and disagree with it just because those people pissed me off. Because my gut reaction is I don't like this change.
Sure.
And that's true, and that's what I'm going to tell you, the listener who tune in for some reason to hear Kyle and my opinion on this game. But everyone who's out there, criticizing it, be like, oh my God, where was the PTR? Y'all, I'm here to inform you, PTR is dead. No one's playing it. There's not enough games happening in PTR to be worth anyone's time or to learn anything. Like, there's just not enough games being logged. Like, I don't know what world you're living in, but it's clearly not one where you play this game.
And this is an ongoing topic. We will be discussing this for weeks to come. This is not it's accumulation of our research in 24 hours, but it is not a presentation of everything we know about this change yet. So stay with ITN and we'll let you know what happens.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other balance change happening too. So we should get to it.
Yes, we should. Shall we start with Battlegrounds? Because it's pretty approachable compared to how many other darn changes were made in this patch. Hanamura Temple. We spent some time talking about it last week, Kyle. It's a contentious battleground. People got opinions on Hanamura. Mm-hmm. The Swordsman Mercenary Camp. The respawn timer has been increased and went from 120 to 150 seconds, an extra 30 seconds added on to that swordsman coming back into the world. This feels good. This feels like a decent change in my opinion. I think they could go even longer. I think they could have added another full minute to this timer and it would feel okay.
There are so many other little issues we discussed last week that this is a step in the right direction. With the increased rotations on what feels like a smaller map, I think they will be just as contested. This may even make the contest more action-packed, if you want to be positive about it, because they take it 30 seconds before you. Well, now there's bigger windows of yours being visible on the map before theirs becomes available, and there's less trading and more straight-up warring.
Yeah, which is... kind of seems to be missing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just influenced by the extremely successful Hanamura we had last week, where we just constantly kept stealing their camps. There's something about that that's fun, but only if there's actually a back and forth. If you just kind of dominate in the fashion that we did, that's not interesting.
Yeah,
it felt good for us at the time, but you don't want every game to come down to that.
Well, to be fair, our previous game was exhausting, so that was a nice break.
Oh, totally. But I'm just saying, like, there's something to be said for a fight breaking out around the swordsman camp to it being exciting, because it is. But if you just get into that rhythm where you're a level ahead the entire time, so it's just always a risk, almost always the wrong call for the opposing team to start their own damn camp, because you're going to show up, the boss is going to be focusing them, and then... you just lose the fight. That's no good. Oh, wait, what just happened? Oh, that's interesting. I have a button that apparently mutes all my system sound. I didn't know that button existed.
Oh, congratulations.
So whatever you just said, I missed it, and I apologize.
Oh, yeah. They're aware, and Hanamura changes, I'm sure, are coming.
Yeah. And then Impaler Mercenaries. These are the, you like to call them the Goatmen. On Infernal Shrines and Battlefield of Eternity had their basic attack damage increase from 50 to 65. I like this. I always felt that they seemed a little ignorable.
Yeah, they're not your siege giants. They're not doing that splash damage either. There are 3 of them, so this is a pretty darn good increase in DPS. There's a nice little trick you can do if you have a ranged ability. Shoot over the wall into the well on Infernal Shrines so that these guys get sight of it and then target it directly instead of walking into lane and then kind of getting involved in the lane and the towers. You can just go ahead and snipe that thing on out.
Yeah. All right, let's get to hero changes because there have been many. And let's start with what are effectively buffs. Although I got to say, dude, like it seems like almost every change in this patch that was a buff is really just buffs to underpicked talents with a couple exceptions.
We are making a pretty big distinction here. Lots and lots of cuts to these patch notes. If you have a favorite hero, be sure to read it for yourself. We are basically going to speed through anything that is a talent incentivization adjustment, meaning you have a main talent build. We would like you to try other things because the win rate is solid, but you're just not picking it, or the win rate's too low on said talent. But for the case of our buffs and nerf section here, it is a true attack on their stats or their main build.
Yeah. Now there are some kind of standout exceptions. One of the big ones is Chen. Chen just had his rework, and they have gone in and they have changed up Cake Smash already. So the delay between the smash and the breath has been shortened by a quarter of a second. The 10% slow ends a quarter of a second sooner, but the 40% slow lasts a quarter of a second longer. So kind of all around a good thing for Cake Smash.
Yeah, it's still purposely clunky, and you have a range of time where you will miss, and it's harder to use than previous gens might like. But they're aware, and they're giving you a little bit of an incentivization to continue Cake Smash builds in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about the intentional clunk last week, and that the delay that is a knob that can be adjusted, and here they are adjusting it. So
it also went through and added a 25 armor buff to Wandering Keg, which just feels great.
Yeah,
you're getting wheeled on
for the whole duration of it. And then they also went and took 10 seconds off the cooldown. So now it's a minute. It's a 60-second cooldown for Wandering Keg, and you're gonna have 25 armor on your panda for the duration of it. That's a thick keg.
It also has 70% movement speed. We're not going to mention this every time we talk about an ability, but that's a speedy keg at the moment.
Yes, it is. Mal'Ganis got a little bit of love. Fell Claws, this is just baseline. We're not even talking talents here. Cooldown has been taken down by 1 second. It's now on an 8-second cooldown, and 5 mana was shaved off of its cost. It's only going to cost you 45 mana to cast Fell Claws. But this is a really important ability for Mal'Ganis. This is how Mal'Ganis engages and how Mal'Ganis disengages. So being able to do it 1 second sooner, that's huge. You get to use a lot more Fell Claws over the course of a game now.
Not only that, but the majority of lower league players aren't doing auto attacks in between or casting other spells. They're just chaining this like a furious Greymane. And this is their main source of health back and CC. And this can have, in general, his overall win rate will probably improve quite a bit because of that exchange back to CC and health for him. It's also worth noting, I said we weren't going to do it for everyone, but it's just shocking to me still. Night Rush, his sleep, is a 50% movement increase, and that thing is now booking it. And
he's literally flying.
Yeah, and he's going to land a lot more sleeps.
Yeah. More than an Ana, that's for sure.
Poor Ana. Man, they go through and they reduce everyone's hitbox. I'm already like, I don't know about this. I'm not feeling aiming this much over the course of a game with players I don't know how they move. Maybe if I memorize my team, I'd feel better. But, I do not want to be Ana healing.
No, even with the grenade. I mean, the grenade travels exactly as fast as it used to.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Ana is feeling really rough right now. Which
I ran out of all my Ana heals last night, the grenade included.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay, man. It's okay. But stop engaging Murky on Imperius, please. Okay. That was a bad decision before these changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was messed up, to be perfectly honest.
Well, hey, I'm going to self-criticize. It was my job to kill the Murky, and I was failing because he was the fastest little gremlin bullshit I've ever dealt with in the game, and I was on Vala. Those hungry arrows were not connecting.
That was an issue of my cooldowns weren't increased by 10%. So by the time I Imperius would have a cooldown to regenerate myself, speedy ass Murky had respawned and run back to the Braxis pad before I had anything to deal with him again. I would kill him, be on 12-second cooldown for abilities, and he'd be already in my face before I had said ability a second time.
Yeah. This is again what I'm talking about. Like if you're dealing damage by just like being closer to the enemy, to your enemy, you're going to be on them 10% more often because you're moving to them faster. You can stay with them. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what this means, and I'm afraid. I'm afraid, Kyle. I don't
It's
want,
fair.
I don't want to fear Murky this much, and I already feared Murky before.
We were in quick match, to be fair, but he might have a bit of power at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, hey, Sonya got a health increase.
She did.
Oh, not quite 5% health increase. Health and regen.
It serves her well.
You're going to need it because you're not going to land your spear anymore.
Yes, but you can whirlwind that back line and through the front line like nobody's business.
Oh, dude, whirlwind feels nuts. It feels so nuts. So I was looking.
You're going places.
So this buff, I haven't looked at Sonya in forever. I'm sorry. It's like the jealous girlfriend meme, dude. Like the jealous girlfriend is Sonya, and I'm turning around looking at Rexar. That's been my life for the last like 3 months. And so this buff actually made me, I realized I didn't even know what was going on with Sonya. So I pulled up Sonya's win rates, stats, see what people are picking, see what people are winning with. The picks haven't really changed, but the win rate has. Slam build Sonya has been what's been bringing home the bacon, even though it is not the most popular picked build. I think it might change. I think we might just go right back to the whirlwind meta after this. Because why not? Now, again, it's all relative, and that could change, and we could just end up right back at the slam build because once everyone just realizes that they can move at the same speed, it's all relative, right? We should be able to dodge this kind of stuff. But you're right. If you're Imperious and you expect to have certain abilities to regen, to survive certain things, that's just not true anymore. You now have to factor in that the targets that you were ready to fight are going to be on you sooner than you thought you were going to be ready for it.
Yeah, it's that butcher problem. You're Johanna, you know to hit unstoppable at X time when you hear the fresh meat holler, and he connects before you're ready. You're now stunned. You get into the lamb, and it's over.
Look, Communard in the chat room is just making me sweat and says Twin Blades Varian is just going to be a monster now. I don't want to live in any future where Varian is a correct hero to play.
Yeah, it'll be frustrating for sure. You are stutter stepping faster, so that helps to maybe kite him sort of maybe. I think Varian in general is horribly overdrafted, and you should just take all that energy you put in Varian because you see that Genji, people are like, I'm Varian, I'm going to taunt him, we'll wreck Genji. No, just take all that energy and put it on Uther. Just pick it up, drop it on Uther, and can we all agree that is the superior choice and that Uther is not a healer when you see double support? People are, we won't have any DPS. No, we're just taking, we took a Varian, but his name is Uther.
I'm also afraid of that future, but whatever the case is. Moving on. Sonya change. It's good. Glad to see it. Happy. What is going on with Yrel, Kyle? Because I know you've been playing Yrel, and I've seen a lot of Yrel since the patch.
Yeah, Yrel got a little bit of an update. They're trying to help her underpick talents, but some of these do affect other heroes in the area, which means they can be more powerful. And if we are cycling into a world where their solo lane is less important and more isolated, whatever that hero brings to the other lanes in the eventual team fight will become better. So Hand of Freedom is now self-castable. This is what gives you a 50% movement increase for 3 seconds and removes all slows and roots. So if you are in that solo lane, level 4, you might still be. You can now actually get out of that Zool and slow that's hunting you down, as well as bringing it to the team fight eventually. She also got a really nice movement speed increase on her Righteous Momentum at level 7 if you're into those hammer builds, which you might be, because level 16 now has a 6% maximum health giant killer tied to your Righteous Hammer.
Okay. I can dig that. I love giant killers, man. That's all you got to tell me.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's cool. So are you enjoying it? Are you liking Yrel?
I think I'm not ready for it yet. I'm still playing the isolated solo lane, so my perspective needs to change dramatically. That would be a opportunity to maybe increase the range of Avenging Wrath. I am slowed while channeling it, and then I jump, and I miss because they ran out of range. There's a lot of training that's going to happen there.
Greymane, for the most part, underpicked talent changes here. Incendiary, Elixir, Curse Bullet. You're probably still not taking these. I would definitely not take Curse Bullet now, because they only increase the damage, not the speed at which it travels. But the thing to note here is the basic attack damage increase going from 140 to 148. Greymane is kind of scary in this movement speed increase world. And is more likely, until we realize that we need to move away from the Greymane, is more likely to be landing these basic attacks, which are now hitting for more.
He also has a very solid range increase on his basic attack with Quicksilver Bullet. You may not be taking it, but it is interesting at this point. Zul'jin as well. Anybody who's increasing their range beyond the 5.5 might have a better chance to connect, to pursue. If you have a slow with that, like Zul'jin has, or an ability to close like Greymane has, I mean, these could all be the new upcoming heroes. I agree with you on that Curse Bullet, though. I am honestly shocked that we've put it at 40%. You're hitting it on the tank, which is the wrong target anyway. If you're hitting on a squishy, the healer can outpace it. Why isn't this 50%? Probably some HGC thing I don't remember.
And I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, it's a 30-second cooldown. Okay, never mind.
Well, okay, fair. And then Vala, Caltrops, Seething Hatred, getting some love. Again, pretty underpicked talents here. Seething Hatred, it's worth a note that 16 honestly has pretty healthy talent diversity on Vala. Win rate diversity. The pick rate is really out of whack.
Well, the real problem with Vala's 16 is that she doesn't have a spell damage option. So when you go with a Hungering Arrow build, you get to 16 and you go, oh, well, I guess I'm going to take an auto attack talent or something. I know. I'll slow them with my multi-shot because, hey, I want to land my skill shots. This is just a nice little update to a talent that was being underpicked in the first place. But the real news is that Vala went and got herself an extra 70 hit points.
I don't notice it at all.
You probably don't, because your toe is now dipping into X explosion when you previously didn't walk into it at that speed.
Wait, hold on a second. So you're saying I'm walking into abilities that miss because of the movement speed?
Right. Well, yeah.
So the circle isn't underneath my feet, but because I'm already in my stutter step and, I'm feeling the groove, Kael'thas misses and I accidentally step into it because I'm moving fast.
Exactly. There's no shade.
That is a hell of a way to frame that, Kyle.
I'm not trolling anybody. I'm just saying that circle ability lands and you go boo, 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 and you're stutter stepping and you thought you would end X place and you never, like my sneaky bush play last night. Totally sweet, dude. Here, riding up, and just face right out the bush. Like, well, I'm here, guys. The game.
Those are the kind of things I'm not as worried about. We're gonna figure that out very quickly.
Because we're just misplaying.
Yeah, you're gonna figure that out quickly. Yeah, those are not my concerns. But now let's talk about nerfs. Really no big surprises here, except maybe Ana, who I just feel like they could have just left her alone. Giving everyone 10% movement speed is a massive nerf to Ana just by itself. But they also went and dinged her in other places. But Ana aside, we got a new Barak still getting nerfed. Hardened Carapace cooldown and getting a whole second added onto it. So you're only going to be able to pop it every 7 seconds now. And the cooldown reduction on Epicenter was reduced by 1/4 second.
Inching. It's also weird when it just feels like Cocoon's the issue. And now in this new movement speed world, Cocoon will be more of an issue.
Man, they already nerfed my freaking beetles, and now my beetles aren't even going to be able to catch anybody because they're just going to walk away from them.
Yeah, right. They spend all this time in the dev comment. This is like light trolling of the development team, but they spend all this time in the dev comment from Mal'Ganis being like, we understand that when we affect him, we affect his output. Like, what about the beetles? Every time you increase a cooldown, that's less beetles over the course of a video game.
Yep.
Hating on those beetles.
Yep. Just, man, they really hate them. They really hate them. I want them to love beetles as much as Hearthstone loves bees.
Do they love bees?
They just
Is that why people are tweeting bee memes?
They just put out a new video today, and they announced a really cool card that just spawns bees.
Oh, that's fun.
It's awesome, dude. It's so cool.
I hope we go the sliver route where we get bee queens and bee patrollers that give +1 to all bees.
This is bee tokens.
Yeah,
token generation
exactly.
and their bees. Yeah.
Yeah, then we get
fun.
first strike bees and trample bees and
What's the video?
Names like Juggernaut bee.
Watch the video. I saw the mechanic. And I'm like, I think Kyle's gonna like the design of this.
Oh yeah, I've been pissed ever since they removed my Jade Warriors. Those things were great.
But still in wild. Still in wild. I don't know why you were doing Jade Warrior when you could be doing
Jade Warriors is in the tokens. I was doing Jade.
Gotcha. I'm like, can you even do Jade Warrior? I don't think that's a thing, Kyle.
No, they weren't like Jade Mages. They were just like Hulk and with weapons.
Gotcha. Anyway, Nubrek further nerfed. Okay, I guess you're also gonna miss more of your spines. You're gonna miss more of your pro charges. Like, oh man, it's almost like everything I enjoy playing has been affected, and I'm taking it personally.
It has.
Yep. Anything else you want to talk about Ana? We've kind of dabbled. We've mentioned Ana multiple times. That's why I'm kind of skipping over.
Right. The main thing here to note is that anti-healer had its bonus area of biotic grenade reduced from 100% to 25. So a pretty decent nerf there. Otherwise, they're trying to get you to pick some other talents and get you off that grenade build. Okay. And they see that level 4 is the culprit. Gotcha.
Zero Tool got some nerfs. The dev comments said that Zero Tool's talent picks for a long time have been dominated by the combination of Wormhole and Cleave related talents. We've tried nerfing Cleave talents in the past, but it has not, in their words, yielded effective enough results. So they're going after Wormhole.
So what they decided to do was give Wormhole a delay cast for return, much like kind of that window of opportunity they put in Chan. If you teleport in, you must now invest in that teleport for 1.25 seconds. Sweet. I really like this idea. However, they also mixed it with some other tools, and there are more skilled, more frustrating things that Zeratools can do. One of these is, of course, his ability to teleport to you when he lands that auto attack. Those talents are getting better, and more skilled Zeratools will do more skilled things that you might find frustrating. For instance, the level 1 move Unseen now reduces the cooldown of permanent close by 1 second. So you have to spend less time not being hit or attacking in order to get in the cloak. That talent also gives you 30% movement speed. So you could be a rotating, hunting down crazy man, teleporting on Biz, doing your attachments of the slow, teleporting to that target. The main thing is nobody will now cleave you, teleport, and then just be gone, right? They jump in from nowhere, explosion of damage, and then they're gone. And that's frustrating, and I think we're all happy it's gone. And if you want to go be amazing at Zeratul with some other new build that is possible now and can be scary, it's going to take way more work.
Right. And yeah. I'm not even going to bring up Singularity Spike.
Hey, he can miss that all day long, all he wants.
Right. Like this seems well informed and well timed with the movement speed change, because the stickiness of Zeratul would be worth even more post the movement speed change.
And hey, you're all like, oh, no one's in my Ring of Frost, no one's in my Blizzard, no one's in my Apocalypse. Guess what Might and Arrow Z mains? I got a bone to pick with you guys, first of all, because you guys get in game and you're like, I'm a Might and Arrow Z main, and just don't even think about the other ults available to you. It's a declaration, and we might need it. And now we may need it more than ever before.
Yeah. Finally, ETC. The cooldown on guitar solo was increased by a second, going from 8 to 9. And in the dev comments, they have revealed that ETC is the warrior with the highest win rate in the game. That is surprising.
It does show in our stats at home, too. Both Hot Slogs and Heroes Profile do show him at 1% higher than Arthas, 2% higher than Johanna.
Yeah, as long as you ignore Rexar.
Right. Well, this is tank, right? Not bruiser. They use the word warrior here, so that's their own fault. What you guys gave us this tag system and you're not using it.
Also, there's so much double spacing in these dev comments, I want to vomit.
The dev comments were poorly formatted. do not care. I personally get really upset whenever anyone takes spelling mistakes as a show of intelligence. So it's fine. Like, ooh, I'm okay. But
double spacing is my trigger.
There you go. Yeah,
that is it.
What kerneling, like the corn or something? What's the word you love?
What?
Kerning?
Kerning? Well, that's a graphic design thing.
Oh, okay. But all the same. You're a graphic designer. Spaces bother you. My colons don't touch the words sometimes. You know, these things happen.
Oh, yeah. Colons have to touch the word to the left that's ending, but not the word to the right that's beginning, whatever goes after the colon. That drives me crazy too. But yeah,
right.
You know me.
But a smiley face, we let the, it doesn't make sense.
A smiley face. Oh, well, yeah, that's how you do a smiley face.
Yeah, unless it's the upside down smiley face, which now means you're being sarcastic, which I like that distinction on the internet now.
I do too.
That's good.
Yep. We got some reworks. Hey, Mr. Imperious, how are you liking, the new talents, the bake-ins, everything going on with him?
You're trolling me, man. Yes, that was a horrible game. I apologize.
No, dude. No, I'm not trolling you.
No. But there are a lot of new tools for Imperious, and
I'm not trolling you.
He does. I know, and he does have some really cool bake-ins, new talents. Your solo lane is going to be rotated on, so just realize you're not the invincible juggernaut you were. Molten Armor received a healing reduction, but it now does equal to that healing on heroes. So no longer will you regenerate off a lane. This is kind of that mouthfeel treatment, but if there's heroes in the area, you're going to have some pretty nice healing, and talents will enhance this. Your Valorous brand trait, you now heal whenever you consume it. So there goes a talent that you had to pick, or maybe you thought you did. And the bonus damage has been reduced because now it's baked in some of that ability. The really cool stuff is that his armor talent is now at 4 instead of 16. It's 25 armor instead of 50 armor, but you get it way earlier and you can start to build that Imperious style with the bruiser off tank that you needed, rather than having to wait to the late game where things might have gone beyond your control at that point. A completely new talent here that we haven't seen on any other hero. Press forward. Damaging a hero sets the duration of your regen globe to 5 seconds, unless it's already higher. So on Braxis there, while you may not have noticed, I was able to maintain 1 regeneration globe for minutes at a time because we're constantly warring with the enemy faction there and doing a little bit of hero damage. Did it add to something you actually want? Maybe not. Level 16, your 20 teleport. You can teleport to an enemy that has your brand on them. That's now level 16 talent, and it can allow you to stay connected with that build.
But the cooldown was increased, wasn't it?
Right, there is a cooldown. It's 20 seconds, so that's the same length as charge strikes on Cassia. So this is a pretty common press the 1 button to do something cool sort of moment, and you're going to use it quite often. And you can engage the backline, which is pretty nice, and catch up. Level 20 also has Brand of Solarian, and this allows you to now have infinite brands. So you apply 3 stacks, well, they don't go away, but they do have a shorter duration. At either rate, Imperious is a bit more team fighty. It has a earlier power spike in his survivability, and can be a very late game tank destroyer if you build him for that job. But you might have to give up one of those options. Either you're a teleporty Malthael kind of type, or you're a backup stun like a tanky Kerrigan kind of type. It's not really good. Another example.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. I'm mostly interested about the teleport change.
It's fun. You'll get into some bad spots because you don't have an escape.
No, you don't. But I mean, just with again, just this overarching change, it feels like there's so much more freedom to get yourself into a bad situation alone.
Yes,
like team fights and like committing together, and in the grand scheme of things, like if I were to boil this down to like a simple thing, it's like working as a team is more important, I think, than ever, because of how dangerous it is to try and pull something off by yourself, especially depending on the hero that you're playing. So in that regards, it is very much keeping with the tradition of changes made to Heroes of the Storm to double down on teamwork.
Right. Let's take maybe something like Malthael and Nova, for example. Malthael with Last Rites rides at 150% movement speed at that new speed to your lane, locks onto you, takes you out with Last Rites. All right. Was there counterplay available there? Did you have time to get away from him? Was he body blocking you? Did that feel better than a Nova who will now rotate on you sooner, but be more likely to miss her shots? And I think really for me, it really comes down to that ravenous spirit that I talked about. Is a heroic better? If you can outrun Pyroblast for longer, is there counterplay available now? And the game got more team oriented.
Yeah. It's... Yeah, I think I'm just in a world where if this is what we're sticking with, I want other things to feel snappier as a result.
Totally. The important thing here about this Imperious almost little rework is that he's more unique. He does feel like his own hero, and he is less dependent on certain talents to do his job, which means he can now have other jobs.
Yeah, which is a good thing, because he did feel a little samey at launch. But I think that's kind of gone by the wayside. I think even before this, Imperious really carved out a place for himself that was unique to him. So
I don't think it was unique that he could regenerate so much, because we took that away from other heroes. Sonya still has that special place, and I like that she'll always kind of have that. Malthael doesn't step on her toes. Rag isn't so great at it. As long as there's a hero to duel, you can keep your health up, but otherwise you can be slowly worn down. And I think that's a healthy design, except for everyone but Sonya, which is, that's her special place.
Yeah. And then there were just a ton of talent incentivization changes. We're really not going to go into detail here because only time is going to tell what kind of effect these are going to have on the game. There's been a lot of talk about the Illidan changes, though, so I do want to focus on him for at least a moment.
Sure. I mean, Illidan, anytime he gets updated, is just a sexy thing.
Yeah. The thing is that nothing here is baseline. We're not talking about any of his baseline abilities or his health or his basic attack damage, anything of that nature. We are strictly talking talent adjustments here, and it's all to talents that are not particularly popular, maybe. Well, not maybe. With the stats available to us, the exception is level 16. Fiery Brand, Blades of Azeroth, doesn't matter. Those are the two that they actually adjusted, but like Illidan actually has very healthy talent diversity at 16. All of those abilities are pretty close in pick rate and pretty close in win rate. So both Fiery Brand and Blades of Azeroth getting some love we could arguably have thrown Illidan in the buffs category because of the changes to those two talents, because they are viable and they got
in
buffed.
particular. The Blades of Azeroth allows you to now activate it as soon as it's picked, so there's no longer a delay past the point when you receive the talent of having to farm it up. Yeah.
But Reflexive Block and Rapid Chase, I still don't think we're going to be taking those. They still seem unnecessary.
I would agree.
Like Rapid Chase, is Illidan, is he really hurt? Is he hurting for stickiness? That's not really a place I'm looking to shore up or fill a gap with a talent.
We got crazy on all sorts of thought philosophies over the years. Armor, questing, just an excited team adding it everywhere. I wouldn't mind seeing this idea run with a little bit. The idea that something is instantly stacked and ready to go when you grab it. What if Kael'thas, upon picking a level 16 Flame Strike talent, completed Convection, if he hadn't completed it yet?
Oh, that's interesting. But you had to have obviously you would have had to have picked Convection beforehand.
Right. So you've been failing all game, so you're not great by any means, but you end up taking a late game talent, and maybe that could help people get away from something like Ignite. Let's take Fury of the Sunwell, explodes twice, and if you took Convection, complete that quest.
Had you mentioned this at any other point in the history of this game, I would have been like, you are a madman, Kyle. But today, when I don't think you should be picking Kael'thas because your Flame Strikes are going to miss, I say, yeah, sure, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. What if we went through and did that for everybody? What if when you got to level 16, every talent gave you Ice Block for Jaina? What if all Kel'Thuzad talents, finished up, or quests completed at 16 just by selecting that talent?
Who knows, dude? I mean, I've been so grumpy, that maybe, if Convection just has a 0% win rate after this change, they may just have you complete it the second you pick Convection.
Maybe.
I'm being cheeky. So, anyways, Rhaegar.
I think it's warranted.
Yeah, Rhaegar, Medivh, Maiev, Mephisto, Falstad, Orfeo, Valera, Anduin, all got talent incentivization changes. The only other hero I kind of want to focus on here that got some talent incentivization changes is Artanis. And the dev comments, seemed excited about this and was like, buffs for Iron. It's like, well, again, these are pretty underpicked talents in the grand scheme of things. They're decent changes. Level 13 is interesting with what's going on with the Graviton Vortex and Templar Seal. But do you take it over Triple Strike? Like, is it enough to make you consider not taking Triple Strike at 13?
There is one world where you stack Templar Zeal and or Phase Bulwark, which gives you the 50 spell armor with your Force of Will. And if you don't need that particular spell armor, you can now stack the new Templar Zeal for more shields. And there is a more shields but not hitting heroes kind of build here where you might be able to tank a little more. I think that you're not wrong in this current world. Like, it's buffs for Ire, but your real buff was movement speed for Artanis. His right click ability to go in with a triple strike, maybe with Titan Killer behind it, and just destroy. Because if you are moving faster, you are landing your auto attacks more, which is giving you more shielding, which down the line, same with this Illidan buff, Mal'Ganis, like we talked about, everybody who's melee got a buff of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. And again, it's all relative. I just want to hammer that home. Like, once we get used to this, we should, in theory, be able to still stay out of range of that melee as we were before. Just take those Uthers, man. Just E-click that stun, because then it really matters. Then that warrior starting to hit you 10% sooner is important.
Yeah. Yeah, the reverberations of this will be felt wide. And as humans looking at data, we are going to make some crazy decisions based on these next 2 weeks. And something that we could have never imagined being number one is now number one in all our perspectives, despite it losing its power as we all adapt to the new game. What if Tassadar's slow auto attack becomes the new assassin because you're hunted down by Tassadar? What kind of world is that?
Well, it doesn't sound like for too much longer, because
he'll change,
getting his rework. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Be interested to see kind of where things level out.
Yeah, I mean, there's already, as we talked about at the top of the show, there's some sad cases already developing. Poor Zagara. Everyone's outrunning a Hydralisk now. She's already down 3%.
Yeah, by summons, dude. Summons are rough.
Yeah.
Unless you're Asmodan, then who cares? You're just moving faster. Like, who cares if your summons aren't moving that much faster?
Yeah, you kind of use them as fodder in like bush checks, so they're not as important as something like Ultralisk, for instance, on Kerrigan.
Oh, dude, yeah, I just disrespected an Ultralisk in a game earlier today. It was hilarious. It's like you ever just put your hand on the forehead of the kid that's little kids trying to mess with you. He's like, hey, you just can't reach me. That's the Ultralisk now. I
would love to see the data on the number of tower shots Zul took over the next week, because he is now outrunning his skeletons as he runs into tower room. And then he goes, whoops, has to turn his butt around.
Yeah, it depends on the hero, because the skeletons are essentially part of the minion wave. So if the minion wave speed hasn't been changed, the skeletons shouldn't change. But if you're a hero like Zagara, where your damage is very much dictated by your summons connecting, it feels bad. And that's where, as much as the fervor on the subreddit and the forums and everything is I'm just annoyed by all of it. And I don't know, I guess it's the difference between like community forums and a podcast. To me, it sounds saner when you and I disagree and we're having a discussion as two people than listening to hundreds of people comment and talk smack. I don't know.
Right. Well, there's always issues too with that, because positive or negative, whatever the issue might be on the internet, this change needs to be revoked immediately. I speak for everyone. I like this change. How dare you try to speak for everyone? So there's a perspective problem. Click on the names. It'll give you sanity. If you're reading Reddit and someone seems really toxic, click on and just look at what their usual post ends up looking like. That's why I prefer podcast conversations over a Twitter one, because you just can't have the subtlety and the understanding that we know this is nuanced, and we'll continue to report on to it in the future weeks.
Indeed. There are a couple other minor things worth mentioning in this patch, one of which is kind of hilarious. They have changed it so that each Mechaterials repeatable mission can now only be completed up to 50 times, and I just want to know who out there this was necessary to implement for.
People. There were people. I knew them.
There's just someone out there just AIing over and over and over again to get as many chests as they possibly can.
Well, they found some holes. Lost Vikings, for one, can soak a lot of orbs and complete a 75 orb stack in about 13 minutes in game. There were also people queuing up together with Alex Straza and doing her build where she spawns an orb, and all just, making that game last.
My God. Yeah, I mean, it's symbiotic relationship, right? The Alex Straza is going to get that orb too.
But here's the real thing. We're not World of Warcraft, and we don't ruin our currency every expansion. If you go and farm all these loot boxes and they come out with another event, you're still sitting on all the shards you got during that time. So rather than say, hey, 2021's here, new events coming, but price increase by 20% because y'all farmed our damn quests and you ruined the economy.
I mean, dude, 50 chests is a lot.
I think that's insane, but there's
and that's
people who do
per repeatable quest.
That's not how I conduct my life. It's amazing. Some people love farming. It's relaxing. They put on some Netflix. They just farm. They go.
That's what I used to do in WoW all the time.
Sure.
My favorite time to load up, Super Bowl Sunday. I would go out and get all the rare metals. No one was out in Sholazar Basin. No one. Yeah. Anyways. Game's also going to now alert you if you are queuing up for a repeatable quest and you haven't completed the main quest.
Nice feature.
So that's good. And then gem purchasing now has a new interface, or a new checkout interface. The streamlined system gives players access to more payment options from directly within the client. That's good. And then the big one, Kyle, Sergeant Hammer has been removed from ARAM.
Hot dog.
Yep.
We're not the audience for it, but congratulations, y'all.
By the way, dude, I cannot decide how I feel about Sergeant Hammer post the movement speed change. Because at first I was like, great, awesome, cool. I'm going to be on top of Sergeant Hammer even faster and just murder. And I'm like, well, also, Sergeant Hammer still just has to right-click to do most of her stuff. And that's what she's doing.
Yeah, boosting. I walked into a lot of mines that I shouldn't have. So
yeah.
Currently it's on my end that she's better.
Same. That was my initial reaction was, I'm going to kill myself some hammers. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not, because I'm still going to miss my skill shots, and all Hammer has to do is click on me. Weird. So, anyways, before we crack open the mailbag, we want to thank those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. This show's free. This is the thing. This is a bad business plan, okay? This is how podcasts work. We put them out for free, and then we go to you and say, hey, would you like to pay for that? And if the answer is yes, Patreon is the best way to do it. Go check it out if you want to support the two of us. Kyle, we're still very, 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 very close to our next goal, where we will resurrect Weak Sauce and start talking about everything under the sun except Heroes of the Storm and putting it out there for all you fine folks. So if that sounds interesting to you, or if you just really like this show, you love Into the Nexus, you want to give something back to Kyle and I, patreon.com/ITN is the best way to do so. And to some of our newer patrons, we want to thank Bo Atlas, Ryan, no last name given, and Elian, no last name given. Thank you very much for the support. And now to emails.
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. If you are supporting us on the Patreon that we just mentioned, make sure that you link your Discord to it, because then you automatically get added to the Into the Nexus patron Discord. Lots of fine folks in there. And you can just send us questions directly in there. John Brannon did exactly that. Poked his head into the Discord today and just said, wanted to let listeners know that signups for the Heroes Lounge Amateur Series are currently open. For EU folks, they are closing this Sunday, the 14th, but for North America, there's still plenty of time. Signups are going until the 4th of August. So if you want to get yourself into some competitive Heroes action, go to heroeslounge.gg, everybody.
Well said. And thank you for letting us know about that. If you run any sort of tournament out there, any sort of community organization, and you would like more people to know about it, we are happy to let people know and send them your way.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. And this is your reminder that you should run your HOTS uploader. If you're not running a HOTS uploader, either the HOTS API one or just the one that's just called HOTS uploader, go and install it so that we have more stats on our stats websites like HOTS Logs and Heroes Profile.
Yep. I love HOTS API uploader version 2.1.
You were roboting like crazy. I think you're good now.
Oh.
Maybe.
That's because I ran my uploader.
Oh, did you? Did you literally just open it?
Like, yeah.
That's exactly okay. All right, good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know, Kyle. Your upload just went pew.
Hey, those are my games flying onto the internet right there, live on the show. But make sure if you're using the HOTS API uploader, there is a tiny box you need to check that says upload a copy to HOTS Logs.
Yep. And you can get this by literally going to hotsapi.net/upload. They are not a sponsor. We just really want more stats from this fine community. So go check it out. And that's going to wrap it up for this meaty episode, Kyle. Keep your emails coming, itncast@gmail.com, or keep dropping questions and announcements into the Patreon Discord. Thanks again for supporting us, everybody, over at patreon.com/ITN, especially our producers. Thank you, Declan H., Cheesy Bob, Chris K., and Robert M. Thank you for the support. We're typically live Thursdays now at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. However, next week, expect us to be showing up most likely Tuesday evening. If you watch live, the podcast will show up on the feed Wednesday morning because I am leaving town next Wednesday. So
get out of town.
I will. I'm going down to Key West. I'm going to sit under different palm trees than I already sit under, sip some type of probably rum-based beverage with a little umbrella in it, and soak up some rays, Kyle.
That sounds like a good time, This big patch is rolling in. Next week, we're going to report on everything we know, everything that's happened, and just taking it easy.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, man. But in the meantime, when you're not doing Into the Nexus, where can everybody find you, dude?
You can find me over at kylefergusson.com, where I have links to everything I do. Be sure to check out DM Gives Inspiration, a weekly D&D show. Just had my first mailbag episode. If you're interested in getting into dungeon mastering Dungeons and Dragons, check that show out wherever it can be found, and now on Google Play.
That's awesome, dude. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. All the podcasts are at amove.tv. Plenty of them over there. Just put up a new Let's Talk About Star Wars. R2T2 is currently hosting another batch of Embrace the Spoilers because Joss and I realized we both watched all of Stranger Things in a sitting. So
nice.
If you want to hear us spoil Stranger Things Season 3, we're going to do a 3-parter. We're doing episodes 1 through 3 is covered in one episode that's already up. We're also going to do 4 through 6, and then we're going to wrap up with the finale, which is basically the final 2 episodes. So if that sounds good to you, go subscribe to either R2T2 or Embrace the Spoilers. It's on both feeds. Robert Podcast can be found. Other than that, I am reminding folks that I have a graphic design portfolio over at nomoonart.com. That's nomoonart.com. You can see my work. You can contact me there if you need graphic design work done. I am leaving town, but I'm letting everybody know because once I'm back, I'm actually going to have some time and I'm going to take some new graphic design freelance on. So if you need something designed, you like my work, you think I can make something for you, hit me up, nomoonart.com. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Until next time, good luck and have fun.
Take care.